Hello, everybody. Welcome to this next delicious, divine 25 minutes of talking about voice, getting vocal in the Power of Us pod. It's not called podcast anymore, it's a pod. I love that. And I'm here with Emily, a beautiful Emily Doe, and Christina Connors, and welcome to this space, to this vocal void and visceral just voyage of everything beginning with V. As if you've been watching them, we're going to just have a little moment to take breath, to ground ourselves, and to give thanks to the voice. So I always like to close my eyes. You don't need to, but if that feels good, and just do you have any fear around speaking out? Just ask yourself that question. What does it feel like for in the space where your throat is when you think about speaking your truth, but maybe you can't quite get it out? What does that feel like? And just take a couple of swallows just so that you can motivate that area, the throat chakra, give it a little bit of energy, because we're going to be talking quite a bit about fear today, I think, and how we've moved past the fear to be using our voices and letting them out into the world. And then that kind of question on the opposite side. So if you did use your voice, if you could get over the fear factor, how much more would you be bringing into your life? And we're going to be talking to Christina about this. She is super motivational, and I love the energy of you already, Christina, and the energy of your work. So coming back into this space. Yeah. So 3 singers together here. Yeah. And this pod is all about, our personal transformation, and how we get vulnerable, to get more vocal, and to feel more grounded, as you were saying in our pre-chat, to be able to speak out about your passion into the world. And there's a lot of people waking up right now, that want to bring more of their light work to the world, and feeling maybe a little bit lost, as their frequency rises, and to let out their voice. So we're talking to that. But first of all, Christina, really interested in listening to everybody that comes in here about how they moved from fear and doubt into empowerment, and actually, using your voice for good. So that moment, or any one specific moment that you moved from fear into the empowerment with your voice. I know it's difficult to just one moment, but if you can share that with us, helping you step into your true power with your voice.
Well, it's actually interesting. So, when I was in my early 30s, I have my background in music theater. So, I pursued the Broadway route and lived in Brooklyn with a good friend of mine. And, the hustle and bustle. And it's interesting how it wasn't necessarily my conscious choice, but I ran out of money. It's really hard in New York City. So I ended up having to move out of the city
Yeah.
and just focus on my massage therapy practice because I couldn't afford to live in the city. And it's interesting how my life's path led me to massage and the fulfillment I found, not even using my voice, but being present with my clients and seeing the transformation of just presence alone. And then I thought to myself, wow, what if I sang with presence?
Mm.
And how much not only can I reach more people, but I could use it in a way that is just so rewarding. I think for me, at some point you get to a point where as an entertainer, with my history in, entertainment is you go out onto the stage and wanting the lights to shine upon you, right? And so I think as for me anyways, as my journey unfolded, when I found my inner light, I just wanted to shine it out
Mm.
and help other people discover their own. So it's rather than looking from the outside to bring it in and rather reflecting it out. And I think that was really, it wasn't necessarily a conscious choice. It was I had to. And it also reminds me as wow, we're not alone.
Yes.
And
Oh,
if you pay attention, you're always guided
yeah.
if you listen to the voice. And that's really kind of how it unfolded for me. It was a very organic process. I honestly, everything that I do now is just so fulfilling because it also nurtures myself. When I see, right? It's for us and others. It's this and that, not this or that.
Yes, I love that so much. Yeah, the circular, so the giving and the receiving.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's taken me a while to get to that space, but I'm definitely there now. I can never say this word, but reciprocity. All right.
Reciprocity.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. And I love those words. We are not alone. And that was a really big game changer for me because it was so difficult for me to ask for help. It was so difficult to admit that I needed help. As soon as I realized, there are other people out there with the same struggles, and just voicing and talking to people, and sharing my story, sharing my shame, sharing my pain, getting real about the hurt. And yeah, then I realized I wasn't alone. So this is fascinating. So moving out of, I want to learn more about the music theatre, and what's your favorite musical theatre song? Go on, let's throw that one in.
Mm. Gosh, it's hard to say. I've always been a big Sound of Music person.
Oh my goodness. Oh,
The hills are alive with the sound of music. I just like, oh, I honestly could literally sing every note of every song, even like the little blurbs, the words she says between, oh my God, it just lights me up.
oh, lights me up as well. That film was on a replay. I don't know whether you're a fan of The Sound of Music.
No, I'm not. And you know what? The reason being, it's not that I'm not a fan of it. It's
Go
just
on.
possibly the only musical that I have never seen.
Ah,
Really? And I think it's on every year on TV too.
I know. Why have I not seen it? Because I love musical theatre, and I was addicted to, I don't know, Mary Poppins,
oh,
Annie,
Yeah, man.
all of
yay.
those movies.
That's
Uh,
funny.
yeah, and I've seen snippets, but I've never seen the whole thing in its entirety.
Oh,
So that's a mission for me.
Misha,
That
and
that's my homework.
it was a dream for my inner child to play that part.
Of
Yeah,
course.
yeah, love that. So perhaps, could happen, but I'm happy if it doesn't happen, and that's the good thing. That's a good thing with age, as we start to realize living in the moment, and making the most out of every moment as well. So you've talked about a moment that obviously was a pivotal moment where you had to, it's like almost, universally being guided. And I'm interested to become a massage therapist. Was there any like shame in that, or fear, like moving out of that dream of being a singer? I'm sure that, and I know that you're still singing, but for me, I've had to deal with a lot of, but I didn't make it. That kind of thing. Is there anything like that that's happened in your career? Changing careers or integrating other careers, other skills?
Absolutely. But I have to say, when I had moved to New York City, there's a little bit of a backstory there, and I'll say it in a quick way. It's pretty amazing, actually. So when I lived in Brooklyn, I heard a song called "Listen to My Heart." And it's written by this composer named David Friedman, and all of his songs are so healing. Listen to My Heart. He's got a song called Gift of Trouble. He has a song, he has a song called There Is Life, which is all about, even when, the pond is frozen, there's life underneath, knowing that there's always life. He's just his music. There's a song called We Love on Borrowed Time, Trust the Wind, which is all about trusting the path of your life, that you are being led to where you're meant to. So like his music was like my soundtrack. And I was like, I want to meet that. I want to meet this composer. He's amazing. And then of course, I couldn't afford it, moved back to Greenwich to focus on my massage practice. And about 3 months in, I was on the phone with my mom, and she said, you're doing the massage, and why don't you, find a spiritual community because you seem, you like that. And I was like, okay. And so she's like, you heard one in Norwalk. And so I went up to Norwalk. It's a small little church above a Ford dealership. And I walk and I sit on the chair in the back row, and who's sitting for four rows in front of me is David Friedman.
Shivers. Mhm.
And yeah, and I wanted him to hear me sing Listen to My Heart because that was like my staple song at the time. And he not only heard me sing it, but he played for me. And then a month later we played for a huge audience, standing ovation. And my first album is all of his music. And the Christina's Cottage, everything I do is all of his music. He's my collaborator. So think about it. The universe brought me to him for me to be guided to the most highest purpose. It's amazing. It's like you can't make this stuff up.
You cannot make it up, and without resistance. So you were in your
Well,
flow.
yeah. As you know, there's no resistance, but there's a lot of inner stuff going on as you're going with the flow, right? That's the gift of trouble. So it's like, you're being guided to go to massage, to be a massage therapist, but you're having all of this, I didn't make it, I'm not enough. I'm not good enough, I'm nothing without being a singer. And that's who I've always been identified as, Christina the singer, Christina the singer. And
Yeah.
who am I now? So a lot of that. And then also, at that time, my friends were having kids too. And
Yeah.
I was in my early 30s, so not only did I not have that career anymore, I was also, partnerless, and I didn't have kids either. So it was actually on some level very challenging time. And at the deeper level, I can't explain it. I knew at a deeper level there was another purpose for me. I did know that, but it still had all those feelings.
Yeah. I'm smiling like so, yeah, because we could be mirroring each other's other story here. And yeah, as I mentioned, I'm childless, and I've just gone through the menopause. So I'm 40, coming to 45, and I'm really coming back to my singing and to sound. And I'm actually creating a co-created album as well at the moment with Francis Young, which is called No Longer Lost. And
Oh,
actually bringing in the energy of a baby that I did lose, and yeah, all the energy of standing up and showing up for yourself, and all the other wonderful women and energetic people that I've met in my life. So I totally resonate with that, and I'm really captivated by just you going back and remembering in your body. How did that feel to have this exchange with David and start to collaborate with him? What did that feel like inside?
like home. Yeah. Like his music is is the song of my soul. Um,
So beautiful, Christina.
and he really brought to music my life story, my soundtrack. And and he's funny too. There's a lot of funny songs. There's a really funny song that actually you might enjoy. It's called If Life Was More Like a Musical. And it's all about, and it's really fun. So he's got funny stuff, but for me, his music, he's so conscious
Yeah.
and wants to heal and wants to heal people. And it's all been through himself. When he wrote Trust the Wind, he was going through a really hard time, and he wrote it basically for himself
Mm.
because he was working with a very well-known singer, and she had passed away young, and so he thought his life of stardom was now over as well. And then as his path unfolded, he found his healing, and now we're working together, and he's doing many things, but one of the things that he's really passionate about is this kids program. And we're doing actually a concert at Canyon Ranch in Massachusetts in June. We're doing a concert together of his songs and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, it's so it's so home for me. It's so organic, and just feels right. Just feels right.
Yeah, feeling like home. Yeah, I can resonate with that so much. Yeah, and I love your project that you just mentioned. So maybe you could tell us a little bit more about this because it really warmed my heart. You said you're healing children one song at a time, and your production company is called Soul Song Productions.
A new Soul Song Productions.
A new soul song productions. That spoke to me straight away. Yeah, so yeah, what does when you're seeing the work and you're seeing it being received by the children, again,
Mm.
I'm interested in, like we're talking about this, this offering that you have, it's you're giving, they're receiving. What does that feel like to see, your soul work being out there and being received and doing good and healing others?
Ah, it's like a mirror of my own inner child in all these little kids,
Yeah.
right? Wishing that I had this when I was little, right? Um, a parent who's also because everything I do is incorporated with the parents
Yeah.
because I don't want to be another one of those programs where kids are singing in front of a screen while a parent is off doing laundry. I
Mhm.
mean, maybe that happens. That's why we do little vignettes. They're like 2 or 3 minute little snippets, right? So a parent, parents have time to sit and watch an episode, and it's really for them to do together and to connect them together because I think the world is so stimulating, and I think it's really hard for myself. I can't even imagine, being a parent of a young child, having, to take care of a home, maybe possibly work, and have a child to be even able to just be present with them. You're probably constantly spinning. There's one of my favorite videos is called The Pause, and Buddy, the dog, teaches it, and it's about pausing. And yeah, so we can do it in a fun way. It can be playful. Healing and learning and growing doesn't have to be like, oh, we have to sit in a lotus position and, it can be playful,
Yeah.
right? It can be playful and it can be fun. Um,
Talking like about the inner child. I'm just bring Emily in here as well because she is a mother to two wonderful girls. But the adults get so busy. They're cutting off their own stream of energy source and supply of energy. We forget to have fun. We forget to play. And then definitely for me, for my own kind of recovery story of my inner child. She was suffocating and stifled and didn't think she was good enough. So just stopped actually being vocal and using my voice. So it's so needed in this world for the adults as well. So obviously you're coming back to your voice.
Yeah.
And to your own voice, and like we're working on your first project. That's why she's here in Spain. But how did you receive that as a mother? What Christina's work is.
I love what you're doing, Christina. And actually, I've spent the last 7 years up till this point working on a children's program myself called Movement Foundations, which I'm just wrapping up because I'm now kind of moving into another project. I'm a manifesting generator, so I'm meant to keep changing it up. But I was so passionate about exactly what you said about I don't know if we spoke about it in the interview or in the pre-chat, but we were talking about how parents is so important for the parents to be in that regulation with their children. And I know how easy it is to get caught up in the day-to-day, the jobs around the house, the earning enough money, and it's so easy to just let the kids do their own thing, send them off to after school club, and you don't really know what your children are doing and you're living these separate lives. And so I actually, as part of Movement Foundations in its last incarnation, it became an after school provision, but it was an after school provision where parents and children came together and they played together.
No,
And it was beautiful. It was so beautiful, and it actually was for children which was well, families which were experiencing high levels of anxiety or maybe special educational needs, maybe disabilities of some kind. And so it was a space for people to come together and really create some community. And, you know, we just all be moving, dancing, singing, you know, yeah, just getting and just leading by example, you know, and modeling for our children and our children modeling for us. And we were all having a go at the headstands, we were all having a go at the crazy cartwheels and things like that. And it was just beautiful connection. And so I really love that you are doing that with song, you know, like yeah, maybe that's the direction that I may end up going down, because for me, song is my medicine. It absolutely is 100% my medicine. And that's, you know, when you spoke about the titles of the songs that you love, and that you're working with your composer, David Friedman, did you say? Friedman. Yeah, it just reminds me of the songs that I'm now writing for myself. And I wouldn't have allowed myself the permission to write songs until a couple of years ago. And yeah, I remember as a child, I was always writing songs, and I lost my confidence with it along the way. And I have my own story around that. And I never even allowed myself the chance to go for the big bright lights. You know, I shut that down way before I even got to that point. And so coming back around to it now and realizing that kind of simple songs with beautiful messages are so healing for myself, and then to be able to share that with others and to create harmonies with that, really simple harmonies that anyone can sing. It's that invitation, that permission, you know, of allowing people to realize that everybody has a voice and everybody can sing, and it's not about being pitch perfect. It's not about that.
Yes, this concept, we were talking about this in another interview, about the concept of joining in, and as you know, as a soloist, another label, you know, a soloist, that I also was being cut off, you know, like my label was cutting me off from actually joining in. And there's so much beauty in, obviously, singing in circles, singing in a choir, singing together. We run jam events here in Spain where we sing in community. It's absolutely beautiful. I have another question for you. So I'm really you know, fascinated about singing, of course, but also when we have to get vocal and we have to get vulnerable in our with our voice. So I'm wondering if there's an instance that you can share with the listeners, knowing obviously what you do with your profession, using your voice, but a time where you felt really, really very scared and you were trembling, but you still, you know, got vulnerable and used your voice, you know, to speak up for yourself. Something, an example.
Do you mean in a performance or in life?
In life, really, or in performance, you know? Yeah, I mean, it's interesting having a singer here because, yeah, we you know, being on stage and performing, sometimes we can be really authentic. Sometimes, you know, we're totally in character. But yeah, yeah, on stage or in life, where you felt that I don't like that vulnerability. It's like I can't say it, but you still say what you needed to say.
Well, it's interesting. So I also, along with my kids program, I have two musical guided meditations that I wrote. And I actually weave songs. It's almost kind of like a meditative concert type of thing. So I've taken the songs down slower and I weave them within a guided journey. And sometimes, you know, these guided journeys, they're very healing. There's a song that I sing, you know, it's called the feel forgive what is it called? Forgiveness Embrace, and it's by Stephen Schwartz, and it's really all about forgiving yourself, forgiving your past, and something that we need to do to move forward. And sometimes when I'm performing that song, it gets stuck right here.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, and what I've learned through my voice is just sing through it. And so, yeah,
Oh,
and just
a moment.
let that,
We're just going to feel.
right, let that stuckness move. Do you know what I mean? It's like, you know, that feeling where you're just like,
Yeah.
and I would just sing right through it. And even if I can't think of in the moment what I'm, you know, necessarily just having to forgive, but it's like my soul knows, you know, so it hits something. So you just gotta move with it, you know. And as far as, you know, being fearful, what I'm learning is it's like that phrase, don't keep knocking at a door that doesn't want to open. I've learned that in my own life. It's like I'd be like, you know, I have this book called We Can Be Kind, you know, and I can read it in the corner of your library. Crickets, 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 you know, and I'm just like, and then all of a sudden a huge theater down the road that, you know, that I know the director is like, hi, we want you to do a kids program on a stage in the fall. And I'm like, all right, you know, so here I am like knocking on, you know, doors to sit on the corner and, you know, and a theater just opens up. So what I've learned is just to like, keep speaking my truth, keep speaking it, and just trusting that, like with you. I mean, I didn't have to convince you of anything. I don't believe I have to convince anyone of anything. Either you resonate or you don't resonate, and that's okay. It's
Yeah.
totally okay. Because I don't want someone to convince me to be, you know, get connected, you know, do something that I don't feel resonant with. So you just have to trust that those who are gonna, you know, resonate with you, you don't have to convince anyone.
Yeah, I love that. And I cannot wait to share one of the songs on the album is called Trust. And because all we have is trust. And this is really, I've had to fall deep into the void with trust, and float with it and be with it. And I've loved singing. I just recorded it on Friday, and it's very visceral. It was just incredible. It's like the song came alive within me, you know, and through me, but only because I've gone through everything that I have, you know, and
It's like letting go of control, you know, and of the fear. And it's so hard, right? To not control or this is what I'm going to do. This is my intention. This is my vision. Yeah, you can have a vision, but you have to let it unfold. Let it reveal to you what the bigger vision is, you know, and that's that whole faith and trust. And that's hard, you know, like when you were saying with, you know, writing your own music when with the kid stuff and transitioning into your own thing, you just like trusting the unfoldment of where your heart wants to pull you,
yes.
right?
Yeah.
Oh, Christina.
And then that's so true because I realized that even though I was doing something which to me felt like a soul calling, you
Yeah.
know, there's a part of me that now has to trust that my journey with that, you know, I've inspired other people and they're now on their journey, and now it's time for me to follow my joy again.
Yeah.
Lead me down a slightly different path, and like you say, floating like the dandelion seed. I'm writing a book at the moment, Christina, called so yeah, the dandelions are co-collaborating with me right now and co-creating with me. So yeah,
That's
we'll
awesome.
learn more about that as we get to know each other.
I know. And, Bruce, what did Bruce say to you? So, go on.
He said, "You're my dandelion friend."
Yeah, he's like,
So it's so deep. It's so beautiful. That was his words.
so for the listeners, you'll meet Bruce at some point and understand this connection. Christina, it has been an absolute pleasure. I want to come and give you biggest hug. Yeah, I want to sing some songs with you, and maybe
Yes.
you will. Who knows? I love that word unfolding. Thank you so much for saying yes to us and coming in and being a part of our amplification council. So we're reaching out for the listeners. We're reaching out to artists, visionaries, soul-led entrepreneurs that can support us as we build this event series called the Power of Us. Helping others to release their resonance, to release their voice, to get over the fear, to learn from others, and ultimately, you know, for us all to you know, to find that joy that you're talking about and our own freedom, you know, from fear to freedom. Yeah, so thank you so much, Christina. How can people find your work and connect with you on a deeper level?
Yeah, you can just go right to my website, ChristinaConnors.com. Just my name, CHRISTINA, and then Connors, CONNORS.com. And it's all there. My meditations, my kids program. You can find my book, everything there. So, yeah, no, I'm just, one song at a time, you know.
One song at a time. Mm,
I love that.
yeah, me too.
It's
And
kind of like my life at the moment. One song at a time.
one song at a time.
And it's just lovely. I was saying to Natalie, like, I've just spent the last 3 weeks in India, and that dropped in for me was just this awareness of like, if this is just all it's going to be for the rest of my life, just writing, being in that creative flow, and and accomplishing whatever it is that feels like, okay, that's done, and then inviting in the next. And yeah, I just feel very settled in that knowing.
To me, that's heaven on earth, you know, being in your joy, being present, you know, that is heaven on earth.
Yeah.
And that's how we collectively change the world.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a close. That is just beautiful. I can feel that energy, just the presence, yeah, the presence of us together here today talking. Thank you so much, Christina.
Thank you so much. And hopefully we will connect in person
Yes.
in the near future.
Yeah, I hope so too. And we'll be in contact
Yes.
very soon. And thank you for everybody who has watched. My name is Natalie. We've been with Christina Connors, and I'm here with my beautiful, wonderful co-founder, Emily Doe. Yay!
Yes.
Thank you so much for tuning in.
Thank you.
Bye bye.